From Team Liquid, he is uThermal.
And spawning over in the southwest side, it is ShaDoWn. While it isn't in this game currently that we're watching, the new Nexus skin, I am a big fan of.
Oh, yeah. You know, actually, just all of the recent war chest skins for Protoss, one thing I really enjoy, and this is so strange because I'm a Protoss player, the death animations are fantastic, Ben. I actually don't mind as much when my units die because I'm like, that is a really nice explosion. Like, that's a solid A+ explosion.
You know, I don't mind when Protoss units die either, Ravi. You know?
I know you don't.
It's good to see, but if there's one thing that has made ShaDoWn scary for me in the past, I've actually been cannon rushed by him. Like, he's one of those players that has that as his, like, he can go through absolutely everything. So here he stops for a gateway first. Not Cybercore before Nexus, goes straight for the Nexus. A little bit more greedy, but he's also like checking proxy locations by the looks of it, just making sure he can get away with that kind of stuff. So a confident opening by ShaDoWn.
Yeah. ShaDoWn, you're going to be going down to the bottom right-hand side. Now, one of the things that does happen when you are just busy scouting around for proxies and everything is you don't make your way to the other side of the map. And I know sometimes Terran players these days do like to open up with like 1-1-1 openings and everything. So ShaDoWn is kind of giving up on a bit of the potential of scouting that stuff early in exchange for just verifying there's no immediate proxies that are on that bottom side of the map. So, kind of, yeah, like you said, really, really safe play.
Yeah, and like the fact that this probe has spent so much time down there, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up going for a proxy down there by himself, but yeah, it's definitely unusual. Whenever I do, by the way, that is a cool critter on the map. Whenever I go for like a scout around the map and not just straight at my opponent, I always get a little bit worried, like, oh, am I missing something super obvious here by being a little bit weird and cheeky? But he does get the Stalker out to reflect the Reaper. The Reaper didn't go into the main base at all, and so ShaDoWn's probably like, well, getting my pylon down to like, you know, half shield energy, like I'm totally fine with that. That thing regens pretty quickly.
Absolutely. Now, the Reaper is going to have an opportunity to hop up in the main base. I love that shit. Oh, no, he almost had a perfect read on it. He was like, what if he goes to the main base? And, of course, the Reaper does end up going to the main base. Nice wall over here. It's actually going to prevent the Reaper from going behind the mineral line. It does cause the snipe off as well. So a good pick off, but I believe that uThermal did get a scout out on the Dark Shrine right as it was thrown down.
He certainly did, and that is so incredibly valuable because the Reaper, I know a lot of Terrans out there, they're like, okay, I get this guy so I can kill probes, right? Wrong. Absolutely wrong. That guy is purely for information. And uThermal, when you get to scout a Dark Shrine as early as that, he is absolutely prepared. I'm curious to see what uThermal goes for, whether it's just going to be a super fast Raven. It does look like it. Because whenever I scout a DT, or a Dark Shrine at least, I feel that it's one of those things that even if I do get a Raven, it can sometimes be the wrong response. Like, I almost over-prepare for it, you know?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the time when I see Terran players get the Ravens and they still take a lot of damage to the Dark Templar, it's almost as though getting up to the Raven means that they have fewer resources or attacking units actually prepared to go split up and deal with the DTs moving in from some unexpected angle or, you know, to kill off some Marines. I really do like that this DT play has just become so much more popular in the recent meta. It's been a lot of fun to see.
For you, maybe, Ravi.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
for me,
I see that mule drop and I'm like, oh no, like it's happening. But so uThermal's response, he gets a Raven and then he's going to switch around some add-ons and stuff, gets down the third CC. So very, very patient play. Now, I don't think a DT has gone onto the field yet. Okay, the first one's being warped in now, but ShaDoWn actually produced his third Nexus and a Robo Bay before he warped in a single DT. So I think that's definitely because he got scouted. But he is going to be being aggressive with it, and it's just awkward, right? Like, uThermal's expecting a DT to turn up. Like, he's already expected it to arrive and do damage, or at least be prevented, and so far, nothing at all.
Yeah, now the DTs are going to be going over to the main base of the War Prism, and remember, they do one-shot the Marines. Even if there is the Raven over here, they can actually get a little bit of damage on. War Prism has got to survive. A few Marines already getting picked off. The Raven should be on its way from the natural. There it is. And the DTs, oh, one gets picked off. The second one does get saved. And that's going to be both DTs kept alive. The War Prism takes a bit of damage, but Tank getting a few kills at least.
Yeah, I think that was actually. Now it's turning into an Archon drop. Okay, this is getting really weird by ShaDoWn, but I like it. So the one thing that ShaDoWn had to avoid there was getting interference matrix before he picked up the DT, which he totally avoided. But now he's got these two Archons.
Oh my god! Oh my god, Ben! Archons!
And you know, Ravi, we talked about it. ShaDoWn, he's cheesy in a sense, but he's also just. He manipulates his opponent because getting that Dark Shrine scouted like he did, uThermal seemingly did everything right, but he's down, like the resources lost tab is 50 to 750 thus far. Like ShaDoWn has, again, it's just one of those things. When I scout it early, like before I should, I often can kind of screw myself up.
Yeah. That is tilt-inducing, where you feel like, oh, I'm perfectly defending us. I got my missile turrets, I got a Raven, I got everything. And then they just morph into Archons and start splash damage AoEing down all of your Marines. I mean, if you take a look at resources lost, or sorry, units lost, you'll see it's one probe that went down, the scouting probe over there from ShaDoWn. He's been able to kill 10 Marines, kill a few workers over here. I mean, this is a great start in that sense for ShaDoWn, but how do you feel about this follow-up? Because we did have the Colossus coming out earlier, Thermal Lance now also starting up, and we have Charge on the way.
I look back at his home, and the fact that he's at 65 workers versus 45. Oh, he does lose the Warp Prism here. I think the Widowmine got a good hit off there, and the resources lost tab is a little bit tied up. So uThermal did pounce, got the Archon, got the Warp Prism, and now he can take his third. But honestly, ShaDoWn's army and the fact that he's pretty darn far ahead in economy, as long as he has some DTs out on the map or something, or ready to do some counterattack to slow down this attack that will inevitably be coming from uThermal. Oh, this is cute as well. I like everything ShaDoWn's doing, but he does have to be careful about a push, because that Raven, getting some interference matrix and getting rid of these Colossus could be deadly.
Oh, absolutely. And I will tell you something, Ben. Widowmines are the biggest enemy of a heavy charge lot Archon army. Even some DTs in there will really, really struggle versus those Widowmines. So I want to see, when does ShaDoWn actually catch wind of this? I mean, the observer should be catching wind of all of this. Raven doesn't allow him to pick this off, but if uThermal can get situated well, this is going to get really scary.
This is a big all-in by uThermal, by the way. He hasn't been producing SCVs ever since flying over his third, so it was almost a fake third. Great anti-armor missile, by the way. But the shield battery, the overcharge is down, and ShaDoWn has a lot of units. They are all Dorito cannons here, but the Raven can still cast some spells, get some turrets down, but I think he's going to be holding this. The tanks are falling as well. The Widowmines in the back are dealing some damage, but ShaDoWn is holding beautifully by the looks of it.
And like you said, Ben, this was a big all-in, and you can see that uThermal is down quite a bit of supply. Some more army units are going to be over here. The Widowmines might be able to take care of one or two of the Zealots. Oh, beautiful pullback there from ShaDoWn, recognizing the Widowmines. Immediately only loses one Zealot there, and is now going to be able to continue pushing forward. That third base, no way is it going to be able to safely start mining right now.
And ShaDoWn is utilizing DTs just to turn them into Archons, which I think is really smart. Like, he's got a lot of gas to spend on those things. It's cheaper than making the new Templar Archives and what have you. And ShaDoWn's army is really scary. And the Raven, did it die? It did. So there's no more interference matrix, no more anti-armor missile. This is a nice concave and buying time by uThermal, but man, that is a brutish Protoss army.
Yeah, even the Viking count just got reset right there. One singular Viking barely alive at low hit points. I think SCV's trying to be pulled off the line to help repair it, but at this point, it seems like ShaDoWn just has way, way too much. And man, I really, really thought that uThermal was going to be a huge favorite, but the way that ShaDoWn is playing right now, then I'm super impressed. He's playing really, really well today.
That's what I mean, right? Like, he's playing really sharp. Like, when I saw him against Hearthstone, it wasn't a one-sided affair at all. It was very closely matched, which just goes to show how good this guy's playing. And GG, ShaDoWn takes the first map of the series, which he did it with style too. Like, he got his Dark Shrine scouted, and then it was like, you know what? Oh, uThermal actually re-scouted again with a Hellion and confirmed that the Dark Shrine's actually finished. He was very, very prepped for it, but it came in multiple waves. Like, the DTs came, they did damage, then the Archon drop, and then it was, yeah, it's just very nicely played by ShaDoWn, and he is very uncomfortable to play against because you don't know what he's going to do against you.
And I think even just on that, one of the things that he could do is just do the same thing again, right? Because like you were saying, everything gets scouted. uThermal's reacting, quote unquote, properly, but he still ends up taking a lot of damage there. He still ends up losing that game. And that's what's really scary to me, because in the past, I feel like sometimes DTs would be written off as like this opening, and if it gets scouted, it's kind of going to get shut down. You're not in a great spot. You probably don't want to go for the same strategy again, but doors are truly open, including what we just saw again, right?
Yeah, like there was a patch a long time, or when I say a long time ago, it made the Dark Shrine less of an investment, which
that was a long time ago. That was like 2014 or something, or 2013.
Wait, I don't know what it was. It feels like it was Legacy of the Void or something, but the fact that it went from 200 or like to 150 150, the fact that it's only just getting super utilized against Terran, even though Ravens are becoming more of a thing in TVP, I think that's really cute to see, because it doesn't necessarily mean that you instantly lose if you get scouted or if your DTs fail. Like, you can use them in many other ways, and the fact that they can turn into a different unit entirely is super duper cool. Anyhow, spawning in the bottom left as our blue Terran, it is Liquid uThermal.
And up here in the top right-hand side of the map, we have the red Protoss player. He is ShaDoWn. Just want to put it out there for any of those teams looking to pick up a player that's clearly quite talented, currently teamless. Check him out.
There's quite a few good teamless players, like also Lambo, being second in the group with Terrell and actually took down Terrell. Teamless, by the way, teamless.
Pretty crazy, man. What a world we live in right now. Lots of opportunities if you're a team owner looking to pick up some talented players.
Some talented casters, you know?
All right, Ben. You feeling those Roddy vibes? You want to go join a team?
Yeah, I'll make my own team, team demo, baby.
Dude, but, I feel like a lot of the players that the casters picked up, I feel like they got caster cursed, man, because so many of them did not do quite as well. And I'm like, oh no, Roddy and Wardy have cursed their players for their entire career now.
I think, I mean, Gobbers has obviously had not the best showing, but still exceptionally young and still a lot of room to grow. And, you know, not everything has to happen straight away. Like, Goblin has definitely showed promise in the past. Like that WCS event where he got like top 8 or something was really, really impressive. And, you know, he did lose to Reyno, but still a good showing. Now, this game, ShaDoWn has gone for the wall at the top to kind of help with denying scouting, which I like by him, because that first game where he got the Dark Shrine completely scouted was kind of primarily because his base was totally open.
It definitely was a huge problem in that situation. Now, funny enough, his main base getting scouted is really going to be about revealing that there is going to be missing tech, because we got a proxy pylon down there on the bottom side of the map, and uThermal's going to be sending that Reaper on in. Shouldn't be able to hop up the wall, but I mean, the Adept is not quite finished, so this Reaper should have a guaranteed scout on the nothingness that exists in the main base. Now, Ben, when usually are you going to start thinking as a Terran player, wait, where are your buildings?
Okay, so we have to think about what uThermal saw in the first game. By the way, uThermal's Reaper micro and control is really second to none. Like, the things that he can get done, it's phenomenal. But given that he saw a Stalker in the first game, and he's seeing an Adept here, and he's seeing no tech, that can very often be like, why did you change things up? It was a pretty gas-heavy opening you did in the game before, but you got a Stalker. But what's even more gas-heavy than a Twilight Council? Well, there's only one answer, which is a Stargate. So I wouldn't be surprised if uThermal is thinking about that. By the way, this Reaper, bloody hell.
Oh my God. Ben, this is possibly one of the most tilt-inducing things for a Protoss player to deal with, where a Reaper gets 2 kills, almost gets a 3rd kill, like multiple times. That is so frustrating. But like you were saying, this is going to be that moment where uThermal is going to start having to question, like, what is going on here? Widowmine is going to be coming out. That can be an answer to Oracles if they're miscontrolled. But I mean, if ShaDoWn is on top of that Oracle control, he should be able to keep that Oracle alive against a Widowmine.
So where is the Widowmine right now? In fact, let me have a look.
It just popped.
It's not in a position that's going to help with this Oracle that arrives exceptionally quickly. Now, uThermal had a very quick pull, which is nice by him for sure. But this Oracle is definitely going to go uncontested for a little bit of a while here, killing all these SCVs. And 4 SCVs going down, a little bit of lost mining time. Not the end of the world for uThermal. He's actually just cranking out another Oracle here. And I like it. I like these moves by ShaDoWn. He's already showing a lot of versatility in this matchup.
Yeah, he's going to be able to find a few more SCV kills over here. The Marines, a lot of them just kind of idling there in the mineral line, not actually going in and attacking that Oracle. So Oracle gets out of there alive. There is going to be that Widow Mine loaded on up into the medevac, trying to get some counter damage done as uThermal is down now 11 workers. But third base, funny enough, might actually be the scout over here for the medevac. Oh, just barely drifting out of that vision range, I think.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for ShaDoWn, or rather, it's unfortunate for uThermal that it's only one Widow Mine, because he really needs to deal quite a bit of damage here. And ShaDoWn, he's playing very well against this. uThermal doing well with the unburrow, the burrow micro, though. What's he going to drop on? Switching targets over here as well. Very nice by him. That Widow Mine, definitely worth it. And the medevac's undamaged, like totally undamaged. So nice bit of payback damage by him.
Yeah, and just to clarify that in a little micro trick, because we actually don't see that as often these days from a lot of Terran players, what you can do, if the Widow Mine is going to go off on like a single probe, you can actually tell it to right click on a different target and it'll reset the countdown timer or how long it takes to fire. You just keep doing that back and forth and it'll keep retargeting and not actually fire. So nice little micro trick that we see over there from uThermal. Very, very action intensive too.
Oh, certainly, but worth it. Very much worth it. The new revelation being thrown down costs way less energy now, but only lasts half the duration. And this Oracle gets to see the main base and the third CC, but also got to see this push out. Now, very often when these Terran pushes happen, did he actually see it though? I mean, he definitely did now.
Yeah. Widow Mine does get cleaned up, but the Liberator also siege up inside of the main base. If all the Stalkers get drawn over there, okay, he's just going to warp in 2 Stalkers. He realizes he's got to have his army over the third base. He's going to encounter some of these Marines, but the siege tanks are already in range of the third Nexus right now, Ben. Shield Battery also gets canceled. No Shield Battery overcharge going to be available.
That was really good target firing by uThermal, going for the Shield Battery first, because we know how good the Shield Battery overcharge is. And right now, this was very nice planning by uThermal. There was harassing the natural, harassing the main, but the main push for damage was here at the third, and the damage has been done. Blink on top of the tanks does take one of them down. The second one does fall as well, but this is a really good trade, for uThermal.
Yeah, he's going to actually be able to keep alive 7 of these Marines and force ShaDoWn back, and he's even going to be able to get off a kill on 1 additional Stalker there. This is so awkward, too, because it's right where you would want to take your third base. You can't just immediately try to retake it. So what is ShaDoWn's plan from here? He's going across the map with the Stalkers, but do you expand? Do you just try and all in and say, well, you just sacrifice your entire army to do that?
I think this is... Well, he's going for another third right now. These are definitely ballsy Stalkers, but I think this is kind of a last-ditch effort, hoping that uThermal didn't have anything going, and that's a lot more Stalkers walking straight through the front door. This just goes from bad to worse. That SCV? Just like, hello, I'm one of you.
The medevac was a distraction.
Okay, so ShaDoWn's follow-up, he's like, okay, I'm getting Charge, I'm getting Psystorm, hasn't got a Forge. So I think this is kind of like I hope to stop the next push that happens, because I don't really have a chance if this game goes late. And just kind of stomp him so hard and then just kind of roll with the counterattack, But it is definitely banking on quite a few errors by his opponent.
Yeah, well, third orbital command has finished up a nice little micro over here from ShaDoWn, able to pick off all those remaining Marines in the bunkers. That's what I'm kind of wondering. When does that push probably come? Is it just when Stam and combat shields and +1 weapons are all done, and that's kind of the trigger point for uThermal? Or is this a situation you feel like he's done enough damage, he could probably just sit back a little while longer? Yeah,
like this game with uThermal, he's SCVing up. I think he realizes he dealt a big blow there. And yeah, you don't want to move out until your upgrades are done. I mean, what does he have to wait? Like 20 seconds for all these upgrades to be done? Maybe he can kind of move out now, but honestly, he's playing this smart. He's being careful, and he could just kind of poke and prod and maybe use a lot of his mule energy for scans instead. It's probably something that I'd maybe start considering, given that he is very far ahead this game.
Yeah, I like that ShaDoWn has been able to force out some stims here and there over from uThermal's army, is able to pick off a few SCVs. Has to be careful. Oh, I think that uThermal's really gunning for these Stalkers. They're going to force out a recall as well. All right, so the Stalkers will be recalled. They get moved back to I believe, the third base, but that actually does mean he's not going to have a recall available in case these drop in the main base since they're doing a lot of damage. But it's just Widow Mines. I don't think he'll need a recall, but he will need to react quickly.
Just Widow Mines, Ravi, but with the new armory,
oh yeah,
they're invisible, and there isn't an observer on the map just yet. This is going to get very, very problematic for the young Frenchman. I'm surprised he put them all in the main, though. I think this... I think there's just so much stuff happening on the map right now. Oh, those Widow Mines with the friendly fire there. But uThermal, he's pouncing. He realizes he can do a lot of damage very, very quickly. He secures the third of his opponent. Now, ShaDoWn is getting a counterattack going, which could be dicey. But honestly, this situation's so much better for uThermal right now.
I totally agree. And remember, Ben, recall was used to keep the Stalkers alive earlier. So these Stalkers cannot just quickly recall back. And now they're up against an army of Marauders inside of bunkers as well. That is not the fight they want to take. In the meanwhile, uThermal doing a lot more damage. Storms are trying to be used to push back this army, but uThermal's actually split up his units and spread them out so well. A few more Zealots are going to get warped in, but I feel like uThermal's just getting 10 times more damage done than ShaDoWn is.
Oh, he is. And these Widow Mines, they're doing a little bit of friendly fire damage, but they're making this so much more awkward for ShaDoWn. He is half in supply compared to uThermal. Decent storms do land, but the economy, it's absolutely gutted. And uThermal, yeah, he wins this game and ties up the series 1 apiece.
GG. Well played by uThermal there, really showcasing that he's not going to be just turned off and shut down with an 0-2. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a short break, and we'll be back with game number 3. Welcome back. It's tied up 1-1 apiece, and uThermal versus ShaDoWn. We're moving into game number 3. Map is going to be Pillars of Gold. The Muslim, we've already seen kind of an interesting start for the series. How are you feeling about this map?
This is a very large map, which scares me in one way for uThermal, but I also think that the new maps in general can be a little bit scary just because, you know, they're not super duper figured out, but I'm looking forward to it. In general, this is a very good macro map. It's very easy to be defensive and stuff. I'm just looking forward to see what ShaDoWn continues to keep pulling out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he has definitely been showing out some different styles of play, like the Dark Templar play. I feel like that's just almost been like a meta play to do these days. So that's actually not even that surprising to see, but like going for the Proxy Oracle. And just like you said at the very beginning of the series, anything is possible in the sense that ShaDoWn really can just throw out old meta builds, new meta builds, you know, meta builds that just got phased out. So uThermal's really got to keep on his toes. But I like one thing that you said before the series started, Ben. That's that uThermal himself is also willing to throw out some weird stuff. So I'm curious to see what this guy up here in the top right-hand corner of the map is going to be doing from Team Liquid. He is uThermal.
And spawning over on the bottom left-hand side, as our red Protoss, it is ShaDoWn.
You know, it's so funny because we go back to the series score and the map score for between these guys. That first game that ShaDoWn won, that's the first time he's ever taken a single map off of uThermal in like his entire tournament history. But I mean, he's just playing so much better than he used to, I think.
I think he might be more relaxed and putting less pressure on himself, because when players and, you know, younger players tend to start doing well, it's very much like, oh my god, is this guy gonna do it? And like, you get so many people kind of crowding around and being like, yeah, he totally is. And not only do you put the pressure on yourself to then kind of perform, but you know, you got the pressure of everybody else as well. And given that he's kind of, I don't want to say he retired, but I know that he took a little bit of a break. So maybe that's just helped him a lot.
Dude, that's one of my favorite memes about StarCraft players, where they say, okay, you know, I think my favorite one was Betrayus, where Betrayus, pretty good player, showing a lot of promise, kind of says, okay, I'm going to retire. That's when he starts doing all of his best StarCrafting and gets his best career results thus far. Because, yeah, I think it totally goes back to what you're saying. Like, the pressure and the stress of StarCraft kind of gets relieved a little bit. You don't feel like, oh, this is my livelihood. This is my entire life right now. And now it's kind of like, yeah, you know, I want to make this happen, but this is like my livelihood, my ability to feed myself or maintain this career path is not based on this series.
Oh, yeah, totally. And it's happened with a lot of players in the past, like Wellmu, when he started uni, he started doing really well as well. Like, and he talked about how dividing his life, not having his brain totally focused on one thing, actually helped him separate. So when he came back to StarCraft, he could think about it like in a new way rather than getting stuck continuously. By the way, this game, uThermal did something very interesting. Now, I don't know if this is because he wasn't getting probe scouted. You know how ShaDoWn was kind of going around the map with a probe and stuff. But he went for reactor first, which means he's going to get, and by reactor first, I mean no unit whatsoever. So he's going to have a lot of Marines very, very quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if uThermal ends up doing like a weird-ass tank push, because he's going to have so many Marines way earlier than he should.
Now, ShaDoWn should be realizing this by the fact that there was no Reaper that actually makes its way across the map or anything. But okay, there it is. Reactor Hellion's going to be coming on now.
Okay, so the last time that I saw uThermal do this... Yeah, he scouts it, but it's still going to be problematic because you're going to have 4 Marines turn up very quickly, along with 2 Hellions. Now, he needs to get like a wall up or a shield battery very, very quickly. I think ShaDoWn realizes that, and yes, so a shield battery does start. Whether this is going to be done in time, that's another story.
Adept is also going to be making its way back. This does get really, really dicey. The Marines are already at the front door, but still waiting on the Hellions. Medevac is also in production, so if these units stay alive long enough, there's a potential to kind of follow this up and move over toward the main base, bypassing the wall. Remember, there's no Reaper or anything over here, so you can't really knock these units around outside the wall, but already getting the kill on the Adept before the shield battery finishes. Now that the shield battery is done, it seems like it's going to be a lot harder to engage with those stalkers, but the Hellion dives over to the main base, gets a scout, and does some harassment. And the Marines, they just try and right-click down a few probes, not successfully getting any, but oh man, this Hellion, single Hellion, Ben.
Yeah, the one Hellion doing seemingly more damage than everything else combined. But yeah. I love the follow-up by uThermal. Like, this is just to distract his opponent. We have number 3 and 4 Widowmine coming onto the field with an armory being produced as well. So this is not just about the first wave of harass. This is like a multi-pronged kind of thing, or a multi-phase kind of harass, which is really cool.
Yeah, now Blink is going to be finishing up in a second over here for ShaDoWn, which should help him deal with kind of any of the harassment hitting at an angle that he's not entirely ready for. Third base is going to get scattered over here by the Medevac, and I think the Pylon should have vision of that Medevac, so if ShaDoWn is paying attention to that mini-map, should know this is the angle he's got to pull all those stalkers over to, but no probes being pulled just yet. No stalkers or units are over here. Oh my god, he's not noticing at all, and the probes are gonna get hit. Oh my god, that almost was a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, 4 probes dying is pretty darn good, and these probes, they're kind of grouped up here. 1 sentry does fall, dodges it with a stalker, but 8 probes going down to a Widow Mine drop, that's already very decent, if you also include the lost mining time.
Yep,
Wait, ShaDoWn? Oh no, I thought, okay, I saw on the minimap there some blinking in uThermal space. I'm like, oh my gosh, is ShaDoWn doing some kind of attack here? But no, just a hallucination.
Okay, Widow Mines are going to go off once again in that natural, and they do have to get 1 probe. Second Widow Mine's going to get picked off before getting a kill. But yeah, like you said, just additional delayed mining time. Gets 2 more probes over here.
Yeah, and now the Terrans are heading workers. Like, this is a terrible, terrible situation for ShaDoWn. Like, you know when you have all those pro gamers watching a game? And they'll be like, oh man, this is over. Like, they'll be saying this is over because, like, a Protoss should never, ever, ever be down on workers in this situation. And uThermal, he's powering up massively. So when I talked about, I think it's going to be a tank push, it absolutely wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but it's still going to result in a tank push. Tank pushes are so good at this map. If you look at, like, the natural base of the Protoss, that ramp that is kind of up a little bit, getting tanks on that position, you can like kill this gateway, but also flak down on the ramp of the Protoss, making it very, very tough to hold. And uThermal's producing so many Marines and tanks right now.
Yeah, ShaDoWn is just trying to replenish that probe count that was lost, and uThermal's cut that SCV production for a little bit. Third command center is going to get started up behind all of this, so it seems like there is going to be some availability to try and transition in case this doesn't quite end the game right then and there. But Templar Archives is on the way for ShaDoWn. Charge is being researched. +1 weapons and combat shields are getting closer and closer to finishing over here for uThermal. So I do wonder, when is that push actually going to be coming on out? Is it going to be right as those upgrades finish, or is he going to try and time out to be at the front door with those upgrades?
So he's got Stim, right? And he's got +1 now. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts moving with the +1, but he seems to be very comfortable just knowing that he dealt a lot of damage. Oh, I say that, but he now does have 2 medevacs. Maybe he picks up all the tanks and just kind of runs across, trying to hide how many tanks he has to his opponent. Or they're just going to be used to help push this little squad of stalkers back. And ShaDoWn, he knows he needs to buy time right now, but uThermal, this medevac that he sent out earlier, is going to be dealing quite a bit of damage. And ShaDoWn is doing a good job. Oh, nice little flank with this ragtag group of Marines.
Yeah, just coming out of nowhere and catching 2 of the stalkers. And these Marines are still getting so much damage done in the main base right now. The shield battery is nearly out of energy. So now the Zealots, the stalkers, are going to start falling over here, but uThermal just picks up, goes down to the natural, and he is going to continue pushing in over here. The SCVs pulled off the line as well. Ben, I just don't think there's enough Protoss here to defend.
Do you know what's the best part of this for uThermal? He made the overcharge happen in the main base. So there's no overcharge here. It doesn't even matter. uThermal's just got so much, and this third will not be living for a long time at all. ShaDoWn did do some counter damage, I think, on the other side of the map. But GG, uThermal takes the series 2-1.